All right. Should be recording. Okay, so for number one, which of the following are residents of rich countries likely to have in greater quantities or better quality than residents of poor countries? I did D, all of the above.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Two, do you want me to read the question too, or just kind of go over the answers?
I like the question.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's that way it helps.
Yeah,
Because especially some of these are things it sounds like we're gonna have to memorize for the test.
true.
Yeah.
Okay. So two, during the past century, the average growth rate of the U.S. real GDP per person implies that it doubled on average about every, I put C, 35 years.
Yep.
Okay, three, I actually did not know. So the average income in a rich country such as the United States or Japan is more than, that's the only one I didn't get.
10 times, right?
Yeah, sometimes, but less than 20 times.
Okay. And was that in the PowerPoint or the book?
That was in the book in like one of those. Hold on. It was in the very first paragraph, oddly enough.
Oh, gotcha.
I usually zone out at the beginning.
Yeah, same. Feel bad saying that, but okay. All right, so four, which of the following correctly ranks the three countries from highest to lowest for percentage of high school age children in school? I put C, the United Kingdom, Mexico, and Mali.
Even logically make that.
Yeah. Okay, five, countries that grew the fastest over the last 100 years or so had average growth rates of real income per person of about, I put C, 2.5% per year.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Six, last year real GDP in the imaginary nation of Oceania was 561 billion, and the population was 2.2 million. The year before, real GDP was 500 billion, and the population was 2 million. What was the growth rate of real GDP per person during this year? Six, I put D, 2%.
Yep.
Seven, which of the following would by itself reveal the most about a country's standard of living? And seven, I got D as well. It's productivity. Correct me if I'm wrong. I wasn't too sure about that.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what I have.
Okay, perfect. Eight, the notion that our ability to conserve natural resources is growing more rapidly than their supplies are dwindling is supported by the fact that C, inflation-adjusted prices of most natural resources have been stable or fallen over time.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the only one that made sense to me. All right. Nine, if an inexpensive alternative to oil were found, the price of oil adjusted for inflation would, I put A, would decline as the alternative would reduce the demand for oil.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. And 10, country A has twice as many workers as country B. Country A also has twice as much physical capital, twice as much human capital, and access to twice as many natural resources as country B. Assuming constant returns to scale, which of the following is higher in country A? For 10, I got C, productivity, but not output per worker. I don't know if that's correct either.
Neither productivity nor output per worker.
You got neither?
Yeah.
I got neither too.
Okay, we'll go with that because I wasn't too sure on that one.
I didn't really know on that one too, so I checked it on Quizlet, and Quizlet confirmed that as well. So I feel
Okay,
pretty
perfect. Awesome. Yeah, there's a few I just kind of made a best guess, so please correct me if you get a different answer. All right. 11, which of the following would increase productivity? And I put D, all of the above are correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. 12, if the number of workers in an economy doubled, all other inputs stayed the same, and there were constant returns to scale, productivity would I wasn't sure if it were A or B. I don't know what you guys got on that.
I put B as well.
B makes more sense to me.
I put A.
I know it'll fall. I just don't know
Yeah.
how much. Were you able to check that one too on Quizlet?
Yeah, so on Quizlet, it's kind of said the reverse of A, and so that's why I picked B.
Oh, okay.
Quizlet was kind of weird. It was like I can't remember. Let's see, fall greater than that. It would fall then fall, something like that. It was weird. So I'm pretty confident with you.
Okay.
Did everybody get B?
That's what I thought.
I put A, but if everybody thinks it's B, then
You cutting out?
it was cutting out a little bit.
Yeah.
Was it mostly us that was cutting out? Because our internet's been weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw everyone else moving. But
If it does it again, I'll just switch to a hotspot.
all right, so I guess we can conclude it to B and go from there. 13 then. Workland has a population of 10,000, of whom 7,000 work 8 hours a day to produce a total of 224,000 final goods. Laborland has a population of 5,000, of whom 3,000 work 7 hours a day to produce a total of 105,000 goods. I put for 13A, Workland has a higher productivity and a higher real GDP per person than Laborland.
I got B for that.
I got C.
I got C.
I got D. Just kidding.
I want to say that Quizlet said C, but I can't remember. Let me double check.
Okay.
So then the question is, what's the math? Did we all do different math?
So I found like an equation for it. Let's see. I took a picture of it when I found it, but let's see. So for Workland, let's see. You would take the 224,000 and divide that by 7,000 times 8, and that equals. So it's basically 224,000 divided by 56,000, so that equals 4. And then for Laborland, you would do 120,000 divided by 4,000 times 12. If you can see those numbers in there.
Wait, where's 120 at?
Yeah, you mean 105?
Shoot. The heck? That, yeah, oops, my bad. Crap, I took a wrong, I took a photo of. Yeah, you guys probably got it right then.
We could redo it.
Oh, wait a minute, because Laborland then has 5 and Workland has 4.
5 and 4.
Yeah.
If you do that math, Workland comes to 4 and Laborland comes to 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that right? That's the final goods divided by the number of those who work times the hour in a day that they work.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't incorporate the hours worked in my math, so that's probably why I'm not right.
So what does that mean? Workland has lower productivity? Because there's still an element we're missing.
Yeah, the GDP.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just the formula for productivity?
Well, wouldn't that be the final goods?
Yeah, GDP per person. Though.
That
You
makes
just
sense.
have to divide the final goods by the population.
Instead of doing it for who worked the 7 hours and who worked the 8 hours. Is that what you're saying?
Sorry.
So instead of taking the 10, like for example, for Laborland, taking the 105, the final goods, dividing it by the population, which is 5,000, and timesing that by 7. Is that what you're saying?
For GDP per person, I believe it's just 105,000
Ooh.
divided by 5,000.
For GDP.
And then for the other one, yeah, same. It's just 224,000 divided by 10,000. So yeah. So I think it's C then. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's either A or C, and if we got the math right on the other one, then it sounds like C is correct.
So Workland has lower productivity, but a higher GDP.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So C, I agree.
Okay, perfect. 13 is C. All right, 14. Other things equal, relatively poor countries tend to grow. I put C, faster than relatively rich countries. This is called the catch-up effect.
Yep.
Okay. If the best educated, 15, if the best educated and most skilled persons leave a country, then in the short term, this country's human capital per worker, 15, I got B or D. So either and physical capital per worker will decrease, or the human capital will decrease, but physical will stay the same, or will increase, sorry.
I have D.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go with D.
Is it D?
Yeah, I have D too.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. Okay, 16. In the U.S., each additional year of schooling has historically raised a person's wages on average by about 10%. So I put B for that one. In less developed countries, the gap is smaller.
But I think it's D because I think
I did D too.
All right.
it's larger in less developed areas.
All right. We will go with D. 17 then. Other things the same. If a country raises its saving rate, one is growth of real GDP per person higher. This one I wasn't too sure on either. I put B as the economy moves towards the long run, but not in the long run.
Yeah.
I put C, but I was unsure about that.
Yeah, I was confused here because I know talking about the long run, the GDP per person will get higher as it increases, but it starts to kind of peter off, right? So I don't know if it's saying, is it higher in comparison? Because if so, then it's higher in comparison as it moves towards the long run, but not in the long run. But if it's asking something else, I'm not sure.
All right. So I had the same problem, and I chose D because all the answers are only talking about the long run. So then I don't know if you guys agree or not, but here's my rationale. And at the end of the paragraph, and it italicized it, it said, in the long run, the higher savings rate leads to a higher level of productivity and income, but not to higher growth.
Oh.
So the question is asking, when is growth higher?
Mm-hmm.
And all the answers have to do with the long run. So it sounds like growth never is higher in the long run. Anyway, I don't know if you guys disagree or if anybody looked at Quizlet for that.
That makes sense. Quizlet wasn't very clear on that.
Okay.
So
All right.
what we conclude, so then it's D as in dog?
That's the only way I could rationalize it. But that was one of those, the way it was worded was really difficult. Anyway, I focused on long run, and long run says there is no higher growth.
That's weird. Was that on the book or was that in the PowerPoint?
In the book, in 12-3B, diminishing returns and the catch-up effect, it's the paragraph right after diminishing returns. Well,
You can find it in the PowerPoint because that might say it a little bit differently.
that's a good idea. Maybe, I don't know if you guys want to take a minute on that one or not.
We could go to the end and then just re-look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, is that good for everyone? Do you want to go back to it after?
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see.
It might have been 17, but I think it was 18 I was confused about too.
Okay, 18. Suppose that there are diminishing returns to capital. Suppose also that that two countries are the same except one has more capital per worker, and so it has more real GDP per worker than the other. Finally, suppose that the saving rate in both countries increases from 4% to 7%. Over the next 10 years, we would expect that for 18, I put B. The country that started with less capital per worker will grow faster. And I did that based on the catch-up effect. So
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure on that one either.
That makes sense to me.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that Quizlet had one that was similar, and it sounded like it was D, but it was saying it was like 3% and 5% or something. But B
What did you
sounds a
guys
lot.
get for 18?
I put B.
Okay.
There was a similar question on Quizlet, and it was D on that one, but it was different. I agree with B. That makes more sense.
I'll submit it to you when we're done with this and see what happens. Okay, so 19. Which of the following public policies would be least likely to result in more rapid economic growth for a poor or developing country? I put D, inward-oriented policies.
I agree.
That's the only one that made sense to me. You guys good with that, or?
Yeah.
Sorry, which one on 19?
I put D.
Yeah.
Then 20, economists differ in their views of the role of the government in promoting economic growth. At the very least, the government should, I put A, lend support to the invisible hand by maintaining property rights and political stability.
I agree.
I agree.
All right.
So is it 17 that we were looking at then?
Yeah.
As being B, right?
For which one?
17 as being B.
Yeah, we're thinking B or D. Is that correct, guys?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure which one, though. I'm going through on the quiz right now, and
I can submit it. I've got B for my answer. I can just submit it and just let you guys know.
you don't have to. Again, I'm filling it out based on what we've said, and I'm fine to this time if you want.
I'm fine to submit it. It's all good.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, it's B. B is the correct answer.
17 is B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
guys.
20 out of 20 on that one.
Oh, good. That means you got everything. Thanks.
Awesome.
Yay.
Good job.
Good.
Hopefully the recording saves.
Yeah, I know.
We're okay to get it sent. Oh my gosh.
That's such
All
a pain.
right.
We really should have a video at the very beginning that like explains how Quizlet works or how Zoom works. Sorry.
Yeah.
Those are good.
It does give me more confidence because sometimes I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah, well, when in doubt, I think if you send it to Dropbox or Google Docs, I think you can still submit it that way if it comes up as a file. So I don't know. That's just what I did. But I think I think prior to our meeting, if you had it set up like you were sending in our text message thread, Clarissa, about setting up the cloud, then it would save to that. Because if you guys go back, at least when I go back and look at the recordings on Zoom, where it says recorded meetings, there's nothing in that folder because it doesn't save. You have to have a subscription to Zoom in order to save to that, which nobody has a subscription, and we're limited to how long the video can be, which is why we timed out on that last one.
Well, so one of the things that I realized is if you go through your BYU Idaho account, then I think that's a subscription. If you use your personal one, like a Gmail one, then it only gives you 40 minutes. That's what I learned in one of my other online classes like last year.
That
I
makes
had no
sense.
idea. I use my own email. So did you use your BYU Idaho email?
I think I accidentally used Gmail on that one. That's why that one didn't save.
Okay. Well, that's probably my problem then, for sure, because I definitely just used my regular email.
Yeah.
Ashley, do you have both?
So I've got the email. So I've got my BYU linked to my email. So then if anything gets sent to BYU, it gets sent to my email instead. So I don't have to look in 5 different places. So I didn't know that I would have to use that email instead. So that's really good to know.
And I can't remember how you do it, but you just use that BYU account.
Yeah. And that makes sense because the professors use Zoom all the time.
Yeah.
So
I have a link for you, Ashley, if you want me to send it, that I had from my last class, which was through BYU Idaho, that tells you how to do it, how everything works, and then it sets you up through the BYU account.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
Why they
that's
do this
awesome.
in the beginning of every online class.
Oh, is it? Okay.
No,
You're
they
saying it should be?
No, they
It
should.
should be.
They should do that every time. They should have a video that walks you through it. Because every single time I have an online class, I'm like, I don't remember how to do it. That was, 4 months ago.
Yeah. Well, I think like when we first started this class, I think we were supposed to do Google Hangouts because every time you go to it, it says Google Hangouts.
They need to update the course too and get rid of Google Hangouts because I've never used Google Hangouts. I don't think ever once.
No. Mm-mm.
I was actually talking to my cousin's an online professor, and she said that online classes are really difficult because they can't change many things like in school professors are too. And so they kind of like set up a platform, and then all online teachers for that class have to use that same platform.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So she was really excited when she became an on campus teacher because she didn't have to deal with all that stupid stuff. So,
Well, I'm wondering if it's going to time out here soon because I did not use the BYU Idaho email. We just discussed, so if it does, that's why. But yeah, thanks for all coming.
cool. See y'all later.
Good job. Thank you.
Hey, see ya.
All right,
Bye, guys.